Welcome back to what's becoming quite a lively chat about social media. We're asking our experts what to do when our child wants to use Facebook or Instagram or any of the other social media applications. Now, Mike here would like to know whether he can or can't let his 3-year-old use his iPad. What do you think?
So I'd have iPads and devices in a place where the kids can't just easily get them. They're rewards, and they're good rewards. They can be good rewards, but only if other things have been done first.
I tell the patients the parents who ask me this question, to look for warning signs with their children. Are they becoming very upset when you take the iPad away from them? Is it basically all they want to do, their only interest in things? Do they start to tell you little fibs about what they're doing? Yeah. Those sorts of things tell me they're probably getting too much and it needs to be tailored back. But I'm going to go back to the balance statement and the fact that most parents are pretty good at working out, you know, the good balance of what's going on in their children's lives.
And I think it's too that the iPad can do a million different things. It's not just social media. You could be reading a book on that iPad. In fact, you could have a whole stack of books that you can't cart around with you when you go away for a weekend. So,
or educational apps as well.
Educational apps, but it's also the context. So if you're doing that in the cafe rather than having a face-to-face conversation and that's replacing that, then that's obviously going to lead to problems later on when you want your kid at 14 to really be talking to you then.
Now, speaking of problems, I am here with Lana. Are you dobbing in your brother? What is the story?
All for a good cause, all for a good cause. So my younger brother's just recently discovered online gaming and social networking and locking himself up for hours on end every night, hopefully on the computer. But we're just really struggling as a family to try and get him out and socialising with us again. So how can you help us out?
Well, do you think there's a problem to begin with?
I don't think there's a problem. It's just frustrating that he's spending more time with his online friends rather than his real friends and his real family.
Do you see it affecting his personality and the way he interacts with the rest of the family?
Yeah, he has started to become more anxious around us in big groups.
Right.
Not as social and just not as chatty. He always feels like he can kind of escape to this reality that he's created, and we just want him back with us. So
is he making up any little story about where he's going and you're finding out he's doing something else?
No, I don't. It hasn't gotten that bad.
He's locking himself in his bedroom.
Yeah, we know where he is.
Which brings me to a pretty important point, is that the general consensus amongst the medical community is that children should not be taking iPads to bed. There are lots of medical reasons for that. And, you know, at the end of the night, if you've let your children have an iPad, they should be put on the dining table where mum and dad can clearly see them. And then they go to bed to sleep.
And John, what's your advice for how to draw Lana's younger brother back into the family fold?
Look, it comes down to family values again, and this is tough, and they just drift away from all of us so easily and so quickly. But if a value for that family is, and I just love that you want your brother out of his bedroom. I think that's a fantastic concern to have, and I commend you for it. But if we want to have time as a family, then do something like set family mealtime, and we don't have devices, and we're not going on computers, and we're not going on phones. No phones at the dinner table. Would you agree with that?
Yes,
Absolutely.
You know, even coming to the dinner table and kids are answering texts while you're trying to eat.
Jocelyn, I know that you're dealing with 16-year-olds like this all the time.
And look, for him, that's a really, really important space and place that he's in that you maybe just don't get. Why is that so interesting? So talk to him about what is it in that world that is so much kind of more interesting than real life, because there must be something to that. And I think we really need to validate what's going on in the online world and those avatars and the people that they can be, because in the games, and probably why he's getting really anxious, is with multiplayer games, they're continuing when you're not there. So it's like, I'm massive FOMO, the fear of missing out. What's going on in the game and I'm not there and I'm at the dinner table talking about you and Nan.
FOMO. I have just learnt a new word, FOMO, fear of missing out.
And fear of not knowing, funk. Like, I don't know what's going on in that people's
I didn't know that one. All right, we've got an online question now. This online question is from Bob in Brisbane.
My kids need their computer for most of their homework, and how do I know they're not on social media? Do I look over their shoulder all the time? How do I address this?
That is such a good question. How do you know?
Well, look, you don't know. You build a trusting relationship with your child by communicating with them.
Is there an app that's available that you can check what they're on?
There's lots of different technology where you can actually kind of not spy, but have a sense of what's going on. There's also things that you can lock social media out. So there's a thing called Antisocial that you can buy.
Oh, yes.
It's
I use it.
Do you?
I use it on myself, and I lock myself out for 2 or 3 hours at a time. No Facebook, no Twitter, no Instagram. You can get onto the email.
That's healthy.
Because it is about saying, and a lot of writers use it to say, I don't have that self-control and I want that freedom back.
There is so much to talk about here. So what we've got some takeaway tips for social media. Keep communications with your child open. Set all social networking accounts to private. Set up your own account and connect with your child. Agree on responsible use of screen time. Jocelyn, thank you so much for joining us here and for guiding us through this minefield. It is a minefield.
Totally.
Sadly, we can't have Jocelyn by our side at all times. So, for further help, we've got some important contacts for you. After the break, a condition affecting more than 1 million Australians that some say doesn't exist.
You do yourself an injury, be careful. Are you listening?
And later, how an issue that sounds funny could actually destroy your marriage.